Okay, so with our panel in order of their avatar, we have Kav Temperley, whom you know from Eskimo Joe, and has also got some solo works coming out at the moment. Keeley Connolly, who is a Web3 authority and is OFM artist liaison. Julian Peet, who is a musician in how many bands? 3.
Am I in your band?
Yeah. 3.5. He played on Monday with the Struggling Kings. Not that you're half a band, was half in it. Yes, musician and also Ocean Floor artist liaison. And Sophie Amat, who is a finance and crypto analyst.
The state of the music industry. Well, I guess to frame it in the last 2.5 years, we watched, new gatekeepers like, streaming services like Spotify decrease the amount of royalties that we were getting to a ridiculously small amount, to not even really being able to play live shows, which was our last, place that we could earn any money. Everybody pivoted. There was a whole lot of really interesting things that happened during the lockdown with performances, happening, streaming services, streaming performances, and everybody got really native with the whole digital marketing world, which was really impressive. But you still had a whole bunch of musicians doing a whole lot of stuff for free. Once again, we're great at that. Anytime there's a benefit concert or whatever, we're the first people to put our hands up and come out and play for free. But and we're very happy to experiment with new forms of technology. But at the end of the day, we were in a pretty hard place where we weren't really earning any money. And if you look at how much a record, I don't know if you guys know how much a quality, not saying quality, that's a bad way to say it, but let's say if you want to actually make a record properly, and I'm talking about maybe I'm a solo artist and I got to pay a band and I need to pay an engineer, and then once that album's made, that's cost me about $30,000. Then I need to pay someone like someone to publicize it, so you get a PR person. That's going to cost you about $11,000 really realistically to do a proper campaign. Then you've got to have a radio plugger, that's another $2,000. You're getting up to the $50,000 mark pretty quickly. Who pays for that? Used to be record companies, but we don't sell records anymore, so you can't actually get a royalty back from any of these people. So I don't really know how it all works, but the state of the industry is that music is still being made, which is a positive thing. Bands are still performing, which is a positive thing. I think that people who are lifers, who are tragic music lifers like myself, will continue to make music whether anyone wants to listen to it or not. I think that what happens with that is you'll just see amazing artists coming out which will continue to inspire us and make us want to own and buy everything that they do. Artists will do that over and over again, and one of the things that rang really true to me that Joshua was talking about at the beginning of the night with the Welcome to Country, so he was talking about this song about the trapdoor spider that brought all the tribes together. Like, it's been going on for a long time. Music brings people together, and that needs to be acknowledged. So as far as the state of the industry goes, it's probably not in a very good place financially, but musicians are used to that. We're used to creating something for nothing. So hopefully we'll get to a place where the money comes back in. How that happens, I don't know.
But the spirit is still there. Yes. Julian, what in your experience in the last 2 years or so?
I concur wholeheartedly. I think to add on to what Kav was saying, you're really looking at an industry that is full of people that have an intrinsic need just to keep creating. But there's very much an expectation from the public and the consumers that it's always going to be there, and it probably will be. But I think we're really looking at a bunch of creatives that are really getting to the end of their tether. And like Kav said, our last vestige of hope for a lot of people is always to be able to go on the road. And in the last couple of years, that's changed a lot. So people are looking into other opportunities, which sort of brings us into Web3. So I think the state of the industry at the moment is people are really looking for something new because it really needs to change.
Sort of resistant mindsets would sort of have it that these new buzzwords and phrases come up, and the NFTs and Web3 and everything, but it's only recent memory that streaming started, and the record companies, the majors, and Metallica, well, I know, stop that, put that away.
I did see that headline today that Kurt Cameron was like, we tried to warn the world about streaming services. Yeah. They tried to sue someone for $1 million where they could have bought it for the artists because they had the money and they could have turned it into something that actually paid us money. Anyway, that's a conversation for another time.
But we've seen how new ideas come up, and just because there's a mindset, and especially in the music industry, that this is how things work, and then things began to change. So if we fast forward to now, these buzzwords we're hearing, Web3 and NFTs as an acronym, of course, they're not going away. They are going to be big things. So starting with Web3, who would like to explain what it is and why musicians should care? Keeley.
Oh gosh, where to start? I guess what excites me about Web3 is we don't really know what our community is going to do with it yet. There's so many possibilities of what they can do with it and how they're going to run with it. So, but I really love, my favourite thing about it is just that even energy exchange between artists and fans and industry. So I think even just talking to my friends who support live music a lot and buy lots of merch from artists don't realise how little of that money still goes back to the artist. And they already are excited to buy assets, bespoke, special assets for their favourite artists, knowing that all that money is going to go back to that artist. So that, I guess, is what it's about, is bringing back community into a space again, and there's just even exchange of energy.
Sophie, what excites you about Web3, the possibilities?
Well, what excites me is that if you think about why Web3 is here, this is a pushback against initially, an archaic financial system. One that's been controlled by, an industry which led to a global financial crisis. And I think that when we consider what the possibilities of Web3 are doing, they are offering the toolkit to provide ownership by the communities that want to use the Web3 building toolkits. They really do. And I think this is the most exciting part about it. And it's a technology-led initiative back in 2009 by Satoshi Nakamoto, which continues to be fed by thousands of developers globally. And, it's not going away. I feel like the paving is being paved out and laid out for the music industry. It's like, do you really want it? And I think this is the question. It's here. It's an accessible toolkit for artists, for musicians. And I think that is the most exciting potential that it offers to you. And there are various ways that Ocean Floor Music, as one of many actors in the market, are willing to support your journey. So I find that very exciting, that the infrastructure that helps to decentralise the ownership of power, which we have accepted in a previous paradigm under Web 2, data, content, IP, owned by others, it's yours, but it's actually managed, resold to others. It's all there and available for you to take that full control. It's really a question of choice. And having businesses that want to help you.
I guess with the onset of Web 2, it was an exciting time because it was kind of in some ways, what the internet had been suggested it would be. And I guess when you look to now with Web3 being a real future, that it's kind of the same except exponential.
Well, I think it was contemplated actually by some of the thought thinkers back in the time, the thought leaders back in the time, particularly Tim Berners-Lee, who was one of the great architects of the internet. And he could imagine a world where, there was programmable money like Ethereum, which is the rails underneath, the infrastructure, the financing toolkit underneath. Is that better? You can see that I don't sing. Spot the non-musician on the panel.
Sorry, they just spit all over them.
Right, I had COVID recently. So.
Just copy Bob.
That
He's
would be
not
my luck
a
to get
musician
it.
either.
No, it's all good.
I resemble that remark.
I lost my train of thought, but I mean, the bottom line is this, this is a radical revolution, and I feel that what's exciting about it is the potential for every, thank you, Beth, the potential for every artist, creator of anything. It just lends itself very sweetly to musicians, it really does. But, videographers, let's be honest, podcasters, anyone really who is willing to create their own original content. This is the infrastructure, the technology, and all of the toolkits are there for you. They're not completely 100% battle tested, we're still in an innovative industry, but it's there, it's being delivered. And, other people who had more, I think, intellect and vision than me, I just kind of walked into it while it was happening, like all of us. I think it's exciting. I think it's really noticeable that there are Web3 businesses that want to help those who can see themselves be a part of it.
Do you mind if I ask a question to our experts who are not musicians on the panel, because we are, oh yeah, that's right, you don't point it at the speaker as well.
See, I didn't do that.
This is a genuine question because, as Sophie mentioned, it's early days in this whole technology. We're all excited to get in the early stages of these things, but one of the reasons why all these middlemen came into the whole process was because artists just want to make art. They hate doing the administrational side, and the idea of connecting with fans is important, but it's actually not why we do it. We don't want to have direct, I know this sounds terrible, but we don't want to have direct connection to our fans on a daily basis. We like the idea of creating projects, having someone being the filter between us and these people who receive these projects.
You've had a horrible time when you go to the left bank, right?
Oh, yes. But no, that's just because the food is really bad. But that's why I come to Clancy's. So, but I think it's something worth raising. The idea of the Web3 has these great possibilities for ownership over our art, and yes, put the potential of putting the power back into the artist's hands is really important and very, very significant. But there is still going to need to be a middleman between the artists, because artists are flaky. They are. They just want to sit in their room and dream, and that's what's amazing and beautiful about them, but also really frustrating. So my question to our experts is, how do you guys see that kind of happening?
That's a good question. I think I just see it fueling itself. I mean, when you really love an artist, you put them on all your playlists and you play them at all your gatherings and you share them with all your friends. And imagine if you can actually receive and get rewarded for that as well. So that marketing kind of happens quite naturally. So these people are buying NFTs, really promoting this artist to raise value for their NFT, to then give back to the artist and then also be rewarded for that. So that's probably the main thing that I see. Do you have anything else to add, Soph, for that?
I guess what I'm hearing also is someone has to take responsibility for, the community action. Like if you've got like a ton of fans that just want to deluge you with their love, their money, and kind of like, connect with you in a different way, maybe Kav, that could have been what you were thinking about. Yeah, so, there are new intermediaries. I hate to use that word, but maybe service supporters, like supporting your journey, supporting your process, not taking the royalties, maybe taking a flat fee-based, arrangement. So I think these are the types of conversations which are quite new. It's like it's a fee for service. Now, which artist wouldn't be open to a fee for service? Well, up front, if there was a community management need, what it's going to look like. And I think these are more reasonable terms, and I'm no industry professional, but it's an alternative. It just might be the fit, right? The value fit for you as an artist. So I think having more opportunities and having a different array of specialist skills that can support you, if that wasn't your thing as an artist, then there will be services that match that to be able to provide, you know, and maybe kind of like collaborate with you. That's the big word, collaborate, but it truly is collaborative. You know, you've got to put your feeling in there, you know, you've got to have your artist juju in there, otherwise it doesn't feel authentic.
So NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Firstly, who the hell comes up with these names? It's so ungainly. Very good concept though. Yeah, music NFTs, what are they? What can they be?
I think a lot of what we've been hearing about with NFTs in like the last 18 months has been essentially mostly two types of what I feel like are the three main NFT buyers or holders. The first being investors, people that will buy it as a financial asset that they think will grow over time. The second being hype soldiers and people that are willing to take a gamble and really are sort of getting into the Wild West aspect of it. And that's most of what you hear about in the news, is people that make a lot of money and these big sort of overhyped things. The thing that you don't hear a lot about are the diehard fans. And I think that's where NFTs can really provide a productive value to society, and that's really what we need to lean into and look at, because nobody wants to hear about how a super fan bought, you know, a stem of a, no offense, like an Eskimo Joe song on OpenSea for, you know, 0.05 of Ethereum. But that is happening. It's happening in smaller communities, and you don't hear about it because it's not that exciting, but these are the things that have longevity and grow, and they're really important to diehard fans, they're really important to musicians, they're really important to the wider community. You know, a lot of visual artists really propel this space, and I think we have to acknowledge that. So music NFTs are nothing new. It's the signed t-shirt, it's the set list at the front of the stage, it's the limited edition vinyl, it's the stem. It's all the stuff that's existed for a very long time, but we're creating a new technology and a new way of grasping that I think for newer generations will be of serious value. And all it takes is a majority population to deem something to have value for it to have longevity.
Well said. And I think what's really exciting about these NFTs is like there are these marketplaces which have been established and proven to trade, you know, secondary markets. So in fact, after your NFT has been created, which is your own unique digital asset, which is yours, you get to keep it in your wallet, nobody else can have it, you know, you get to trade it, to sell it on. And, you know, one of the most funky things about these NFTs is some of them are programmable with a commission. So you can still get a commission as an artist when your NFT is resold. Now, isn't that fun? And every time it's resold thereafter, like literally all the time, all the way through until it's removed from or burnt, digitally burnt.
I guess things that in the reality of records not selling like they used to, that artists on the road have had to find new ways to generate income, and that equals merch, but also really a lot of bespoke kind of experiences, and that could be in meet and greets or various offers, and you know, with instruments or experiences. And I guess really NFTs are a digital extension of that different kind of human experience.
I think that the utilities, as you're talking about with the NFTs, are a really interesting part of the whole concept, because myself and my wife Beth were talking about this of like, you know, what's a painting? What's the utility of a painting? Well, you bring it home and you hang it on your wall because it's a painting and it's amazing, but it also holds its value because it's done by an amazing artist, and you know, hopefully that artist dies and you get to resell it for lots and lots of money. But I think that with the utility part of the NFT thing, it does hold some amazing possibilities for bands. You know, like I forget who said it before, but you know, you'd go to the concert. You'd get the ticket, and then you'd stick it into your little diary, and then you could go through years and later you might have been traveling internationally, and you know, you've got that ticket and it reminds you of that time. I love the idea that, you know, tickets, you could have like, you know, one out of all of the tickets for a concert could be an NFT, and that NFT on that blockchain contract tells you who the booking agent was, you know, tells you who the artist was, tells you, you know, who the artist who designed the artwork on the ticket was. And so every time that gets resold, all of these people who are invested in this band get a percentage of this thing being resold. You know, I think it's a cool idea.
And it's a whole lot more romantic, you know, getting your ticket sent to you by email.
Yes. Yeah, the value add is huge. And you know, back to like coming out of the pandemic, one of the cool things is that music as a commodity has come back up again. We just did a concert for WA Day on Monday, and most of the people in the front row were about somewhere between 19 and 23. And if you do the maths, they were all not even 18 when the pandemic hit. So they're going to their first concert, and it's really exciting, and they're getting right into it. So one of the things before the pandemic is I noticed life was moving very fast. You'd go to a bar, a band's playing, oh, let's come back when the band's not here. That's too loud. Now it's like exciting. NFTs, I feel like, are an extension of, you know, where we could go with music and how people remember those experiences.
Who would like to explain what a DAO is?
I'd like to.
I thought so.
This is one of my passion topics. Decentralized autonomous organisation. So we could all imagine here that we are a DAO, and we have the right to create, for example, an application like an NFT marketplace. Like, that's just our thing. We've all come together with that in mind. And so we are offered voting rights. So when you came through the door, did everyone get one of these? Like a bracelet? So that's your token. That's your theoretical token that enables you to vote. So when I propose a name to you and I say, right, do you want this name for our DAO? I'm going to say something like the WA NFT Marketplace DAO. You're all going to say, yay or nay. You see, you're going to be able to, in a DAO, have the capacity, the authority, because you have your token, to vote on some key decision-making processes. And I think that's wonderful. So you could be anywhere in the world. We just happen to be here, you know, at Clancy's pub tonight. But if you can think about what are the decisions that, you know, music creators need to make. Well, I'm a little bit lost on examples there, but, you know.
What was the question again?
What are kind of the decisions that you would need to make when you were creating, you know, music?
Okay, so if you're making an album, you
album.
might put it out to your community that should this be like an upbeat rock and roll song or a mellow acoustic number? The songs can work in both ways. What do you guys reckon?
Exactly. So Kav's asked a question. So who wants that kind of rock and roll upbeat number? You're voting now. Come on, vote. Everyone out there. It's not TV. Exactly.
I think everyone wants to be acoustic, so.
I think so. So do you get a sense of it? So very simple things like this. You get to interface with your musician, or you get to interface with, say, a Web3 services business, like Ocean Floor Music, for example. Okay? You get to be a participant and a part of the way that music organisation operates. So, for example, if there is also a kitty and there's fee money to be distributed, right? Everybody wants to know, well, how is that going to be distributed? Like the royalty income, for example. Let's say the fee income that comes from a Web3 services business, you know, creating value for a creative, they get a fee. And they've got this, you know, increasing supply of money, and they have to distribute it at some point. They've got to figure out, you know, how much to who and all of that. So rather than doing this behind the closed doors, you know, which you don't normally see in a penthouse ivory tower, they're just going to kind of like have a meeting, not quite like this, but, you know, a very public one, and they're going to ask a question. And you're going to tell them what you want done with it, much like the genre. conversation. So that's a decentralized, autonomous organisation. Parts of the decision-making process are there for those who are staked with your tokens in that business. I hope it makes sense.
It does. And you love this. You really do. It comes out, yeah. What about the security of it all, though?
Well, I was at a meetup I'd hosted a couple of weeks ago, and there's a developer here in Perth, actually, and what he's trying to do is develop what are called DAO security kits, which is really fun. Like, these are technical kits which can help DAOs operate in a high-integrity manner. So, you know, there's continuous technology which is helping to maintain integrity. But all of these decisions are on the blockchain. I don't think we've mentioned blockchain so far. So what it means is...
Yeah, summarise the blockchain.
Well, I'll summarise it from the point of view, you know, it's like a ledger. Who likes reconciling the bank account or anything like that? Okay, it's a ledger. There are transactions, right? This is what it is. It's very transparent data which cannot be changed. It cannot be changed, and it's known. So once, you know, it's there, it's transparent, it's available, and people have voted, that information can't be changed. So you know what's been decided on your behalf with the community. And I think that's the very kind of high integrity quality about blockchain technology.
Keeley?
Security. I think you're asking me the wrong question.
How is Web3 helping to enhance the income streams of musicians? That's a very practical question.
Yeah, well, we've definitely kind of covered that a lot already, but I definitely see it as something extra. I don't see Web3 as replacing what we already know. I think that it's kind of that extra way to be creative, and like Kav was saying, we just like coming up with these concepts and projects, and we love creating, and to be able to come up with the extra little part of your project that can be all the bespoke things that Jules was talking about before. That's one way to fund your projects, but obviously Ocean Floor, if you go on to our website and read a little bit more about our 4 pillars, we have more of a funding setup where you can put some of your NFT earnings into a fund, which then can be put into a stable coin, which then you can use to fund your project. So it's kind of like a crowdfunding thing, but instead of donating, you're actually owning stakes in projects, and it's up to the artist what those stakes look like, whether they're percentage royalties, whether they're even more rare NFTs. So yeah, I guess that's the main concept that Ocean Floor is trying to push.
Well, what if someone's interested in becoming involved, Ocean Floor or otherwise? They're a little foggy, and we all are after having old mate. But wanted to know more. Where should they go? How can they educate themselves? Because this is stuff that it takes a while to sink in, and it might not tonight, just with a couple panels talking. Although,
Totally.
you may have heard more about it than you maybe cared to before. Because you come here to see people you know and trust and like to talking about it. But what's a good way for someone or the destinations they can go to learn more about this?
That's something we're really passionate about at Ocean Floor. So the Discord has, we're developing a university there at the moment. When we release our first NFTs, they will get you into, we're going to run a lot of free webinars, kind of entry-level and intro webinars. And after that, with this NFT, you can access all of this, I guess, it's like a gold mine of information to help you with releasing your NFTs. So we're not just like, hey, here's a platform. We teach you how to use it. We teach you how to come up with the strategies to release NFTs, what has been successful in the past. We're all really passionate about it, and we just want to share that information with artists and help them learn and help them down the path. So there's a couple of webinars already. If you want to come and actually talk to me about certain projects that you've got happening or in the future, we can talk a little bit more about what that would look like in a Web3 space. And we've just launched another one. It's all through the QR code on your pamphlet. But yeah, if you go on and fill out that form and register, we can basically send you a couple of links for setting up a wallet security, and a few others will like come up, and you'll just be on those mailing lists. Yes.
You've lost me already. I've got to be honest, right? Because as an artist, I'm forms. I don't want forms. It sounds very complicated.
Yeah.
Right? Do you have like agents of this scenario who can come out and go, right, Vince, tell you what you got. Oh, that'll make a good NFT. We'll take that. Don't you worry about it. Then we'll do this.
Yeah.
And then come back to me and say, yeah, Vince, we've heard this problem. We've got you logged online. We're doing this. I don't
Yeah.
worry about it. From an artistic viewpoint,
Yep.
I really struggle with embracing this.
Yeah, totally.
I need help.
Well, one thing we do want to run is more workshops, and the form just leads you to, that one-on-one interaction. But you can find them through Eventbrite. If you search up Ocean Floor, you'll be able to go straight to those webinars to get that one-on-one contact. They're very small webinars, so we can really focus in on those projects. And with other artists in there, we can collaborate and throw ideas off each other and that type of thing. I think Kav wanted to say something.
Yeah, I think I just try and answer this as an artist who's in a similar scenario as you, where I'm just like, what? So for me personally, I can only talk about how I've approached it as an artist. So for instance, I've just done a record, and I feel very fortunate that I got approached by the Ocean Floor Music guys, and they were saying, look, this is what we're doing, we'd love you to be involved. And I was like, I don't really know what that means, but sounds amazing. So I started to do some research into it, found out what NFTs were. People have been talking about this stuff for a while, and found out what a DAO was and all the rest of it. So what I did is I created my album, and then the guy who's doing the artwork for my album, I've kind of engaged him to create a bunch of animations, kind of animating digital. I've basically set them out like baseball cards, because I like the idea of it, or like playing cards is what I've made them look like. And I've created a bunch of NFTs called Love in the Key of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And I've got this one song, which I've recorded in 7 different versions, and I've put this recording to this bunch of playing cards that all have A, B, C, D, E, F, G on them. And I will release them as my set of NFTs. And the only reason why I say this, because it doesn't completely answer your question, which is how do you get involved. I think it's really important from an artist's perspective to go, what does this mean for me? For me, this is a 3-dimensional extension of what I do with my art already. And I'm not doing it as I'm going to sell these NFTs and I'm going to get really rich out of it. But I understand the idea of creating art, and this is a new way of creating art. Once I've created these 7 NFTs that are in the process of being done, they become one, for the really exclusive one, it's like one of 10, like a print that you're selling. And then for the less exclusive ones, which will be cheaper, that'll be one of 23 or one of 100, like selling prints, right? So I'll have them all there. Hopefully in the very near future, Ocean Floor Music will have a marketplace. I'll put these onto the Ocean Floor Music marketplace, and they will assist me selling these NFTs. I don't know if that answers your question, but for me, that was a really practical way of looking at it. I'm like, well, I create art. I don't really care about the rest of it. If people want to pay for my art, then that's good for me. So I just saw it as a way to look at the album that I was making, expand that in a 3-dimensional way, and then see how I could apply that to what these guys are doing. And I feel really fortunate that these guys knocked on my door and said, hey, are you interested in being involved? Because it forced me to get involved. I know that doesn't answer how do you get involved, but from an artist's headspace, I hope that makes it slightly more clear. I don't know.
I'm 56, you do.
So I have to say that was my same question as well as an artist. there's a reason why middlemen have existed since the beginning of artists. Like, I do think that is a legitimate question. We probably need someone who is like, it's okay to have someone called an artist liaisons officer, but really that's what A&R was, right? They would find the artists and go, you should be involved in this, and we're going to help you for a fee, basically. Yeah,
to put it simply, like myself and Keeley's job is artist liaison. So if you don't like forms, just come and chat to us after, and hopefully I'll put you at ease, and I'll give you a form. No.
It's such early days, so you were approached because this is a new venture, and it's helpful both ways for OFM and you if you're approached, and things that are seem rarefied that are going to last become less so, I think, and that experience will change. There's just a question from I've been asked to ask from our Discord community. Now, firstly, could you explain what the Discord community is?
Discord is a software that was originally brought to popularity by gamers, I believe. And you can do all kinds of stuff on Discord. Crypto communities have really embraced it because there's a lot of ability to create security and structure within the chat forum. What we use Discord for is community engagement, education, competitions. What else we got? University, yep, so education. Eventually we want, it's a bit of a harder thing for musicians to go and embrace Discord unless you're really leaning towards the techie side. If you're a bit more on the traditional side, it takes a little bit of getting used to, but there's a lot going on there, and I would encourage everybody that's a potential ocean floor artist to go have a look-see and see what they can find. So it is our digital community, and I think eventually there'll be more functions there in terms of DAO-based functions and things like that.
Well, the question from the Discord mob is, will the Ocean Floor NFT marketplace offer streaming of artists' music NFTs in a similar style to common music streaming by platforms like Spotify?
Sam and Clint, are we going to do streaming?
That's a great question, I got to say.
I mean, the short answer to that is yes. It is. And I mean...
It's the only short answer in the whole night, I assure you.
From me, that is.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's a very important... there are very important baseline services that marketplaces need to offer to be competitive, and I think we all understand that. So the capacity to stream what's been stored and made available through marketplace is definitely a function of the Ocean Floor Music Service.
Just thinking about it in a Web3 capacity as well, is imagine being rewarded for streaming artists and actually receiving those rewards instead of Spotify, where I guess you're paying a monthly fee. So again, it's just that even exchange of energy between fans and artists.
Is there any more questions from the audience?
How far away are you from launching the platform?
We're going to talk about that, I think, in the next set, but just to answer you straight up, yes, definitely. Ocean Floor Music will be creating its own token. I think it's very important for applications or marketplaces or services in the Web3 industry to create value in the suite of services that they offer. So yes, definitely, that will be there. And that will be available to artists as well to use and to trade with industry professionals.
All right, well, I think we're starting to merge into what will be the next panel. So for now, would you please thank Kav, Keeley, Julian, and Sophie. And also thanks to Jim Pearson, who was DJing before.